and welcome to another great adventure. Boy, do we got a good one for you tonight. We're we're still on this book, The Lone Star Library, and we are picking up where we left off last time. And our adventurer, he is joined the to bring you up to speed anyway, which I appreciate y'all for coming and listening. Bring you up to speed. This guy wanted to adventure. He wanted to find out what it was like in the 1840s to go out and be on a trapping adventure with the trappers and the explorers and go west. Go west, young man. Go west. And so he joined with the trappers and he's headed out and he's experiencing all kinds of great things out west. On his adventure, he is seen Indians and he's done all kinds of great things out there. He has just I don't know how to explain it. He's seen the Indians, he's seen the trappers, he's seen the buffalo, he's experienced fights with the Indians, he's experienced all kinds of crazy cold winter, Christmas time, Indian burials. He's so anyway, he's having quite the thing, and we're learning lots because he's keeping really good track of him and the other people around him, the sites where he's at, what it's like. Very good detail, sometimes better than what I can explain here. So let's get right into this. The last we're going to pick up where we left off. Okay, and they are in the winter, somewhere in the winter time, so they're picking up there. This is like January, I'd say, maybe February in the area. So we're gonna present, and so you don't have to look at my totally ugly mug, and there we go. Let's try that. Yeah, that's much better. Much better. Something to look at, the trading that went on back in the day, things like that. We're going to pick up here, and this is the chapter called Prairie Dogs. Previously to reaching camp, I rode along the base of a small mountain, some distance to the right of the main party, in quest of game. There, I caught a glimpse of the first panther I had yet met with. Jumping from my horse, I thought to give him a passing shot, but he, neither liking my looks nor the smell of gunpowder, made hasty retreat to his mountain home. Passing leisurely on my course led through a large village, prairie dogs, which reminds me of having heretofore neglected a description of these singular animals. I'm at a loss to imagine what it is in habits or looks of the prairie dog and entitles him to that application. In appearance and size, he is more approximate a large species of a scurvy animal, commonly called the fox squirrel, than anything I can name. His tail, however, is about 1.5 inches long, while his ears and legs are short, and a whole, perhaps he is a trifle larger and more succulent than a small fox squirrel. His bark is precisely like the occasional chatterings of that animal, and his color is of a brownish red. His habits are quite inoffensive and lead him to procure his food from roots and grasses. Clumsily in his motions, he seldom ventures far from home, fearful of the numerous enemies. Yeah, numerous enemies. Let's see if we can get a picture. Okay, fearful of his numerous enemies that beset him on all sides, both from birds and beasts of prey. These animals congregate together in large villages and dig their burrows adjoining each other. The dirt thrown from them often forming like elevations 3 or 4 feet high, and those tops are the entrances of the ladder, nearly of a perpendicular descent of 2 feet, then slope away to a great distance underground. These villages, located without regard to the vicinity of water, and it is gravely doubted by many persons whether they make the same use of that fluid as other animals. I've seen large settlements of them in high arid prairies at a distance of 15 or 20 miles from either stream or pool of water, and in regions subject to neither rain nor dews. They are keen of sight and scent, and seem governed by some code of federalism, regulations of mutual safety. Their guards are regularly posted at the suburbs of every village, whose duty it is to be continually on the alert and give the timely warning of an approaching of danger. This is a cautious the cautious sentinels discharged by standing erect on the side at their slightest temperature of the air and startling noises of strange appearance, and having ascertained by careful observation its nature and cause, they sound the sharp yelp and chatter of alarm in a hurried manner, then breaking themselves to the watchtowers that protect the entrances to their burrows from the verge of a steep parapets. They again renew their warning notes when the womb busy populated bescatters at a brief distance for amusement or food, return with an all possible dispatch of their ready holes and disappear from view. The faithful sentinels are last to retreat from their post, and not unfrequently maintain their ground at the hazard of their individual safety. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen prairie dogs, but there you go. On the disappearance of the cause of alarm, they are the first to communicate the pleasing intelligence, and soon the reassured community again betakes themselves to their business and sports. The prairie owl and the rattlesnake maintain friendly relations with these inoffensive villagers, and not unfrequently the three heterogeneous associates occupy the same subterranean apartments, a strange companion of birds, beasts, and reptiles. The prairie dog is extremely tenacious of life and can seldom be killed with a rifle unless by a brain shot, and then even it's difficult to secure him, as his companions will immediately convey the carcass into their holes beyond reach. The flesh of these animals is tender and quite palatable, and their oil superior in fineness and absence from all grosser ingredients to that of any other known animals. It is highly valued as a medicine in certain cases. Yep, you've ever seen prairie dogs? They stand there, somebody will see it, and then they'll chirp, 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 and all the prairie dogs run into the hole. That they do. Oh, let's see. Chapter 10, 11, 12, 13. We're on chapter 13. Horseshoe Creek is a stream of considerable size that traces its way through a broad valley of rich avaloon, which well timbered and cottonwood and with box elder, and affording all the unusual varieties of mountain fruit. The grass of the preceding year's growth was quite rank and stout, giving evidence of fertile soil. Resuming our course, we again bore towards the river with the design of crossing, and after a few hours' ride, we came to its banks through a broad opening between two ridges of hills that communicated with it from the high prairies and tablelands upon the left. Here, however, fording and impractical, the stream being too high and the current too swift. Yeah, that's right. Current too swift. Can you imagine that? Oh, we got current too swift now. Yeah, there we go. There's a, nope, that's the wrong one. I got one here somewhere where they're trying to cross the river. You know, we got to have a river crossing. Look at this. Yeah, this one. Okay. How about that? River crossing. Resuming our course, we once bore towards the river with the design of crossing, and after a few hours' ride, came to its bend. Oh, okay. High prairie table on the left. The Platte of the mountains retains scarcely one characteristic of the river, with which the reader has hereto become so familiarized. It is now confined to a bed of rock and gravel not exceeding 200 yards in width, and is of unwonted clearness and transparency. Its banks are steep, and the attrition of high waters discloses a deep vegetable mold in their vicinity, favorable to the growth of grain or other produce. A small bottom of rich sandy loam upon the opposite side laid at the base of this high ridge of tablelands, which presented its rugged sides of red sandstone, almost vertical in their position, and ornamented with an occasional studded pine or cedar of shrub or of the buffalo berry, while at their base reposed in huge masses a profuse medley of fallen fragments strewn around in all the wild confusion of savage scenery. A few hundred yards to the left, the Platte forces its way through a barrier of tablelands, forming one of those striking particularities incident of mountain streams called a canyon or cannon. Improving the opportunity afforded by a short stay, I ascended an eminence to enjoy a full view of the grand spectacle. The mountain, though which the river finds passage at this place, is from 500 to 800 feet high, opposing perpendicular walls upon each side that at many points overhang the narrow stream, which sweeps its foaming waters among the rocks below. This canyon is nearly 2 miles in length. About midway of the distance, the whole stream is precipitated in an unbroken volume from a ledge of rocks, causing a contract of some 20 or 25 feet descent. Standing upon the dizzy verge of this frightful chasm and gazing adown its dark abyss, the aspect is one of terrific sublimity, and such an one as will cause the beholder to shrink back in an instinctive dread. These walls are precipitously of red sandstone and ferruginous rock, the preceded character of which I was unable to determine. Upon the summit, I noticed an abundance of silic and some elegant species of crystalline quartz that reflected the sun rays, shone like gems in a crown of mountain gold. A number of singular ligneous personifications also met my observation, uh, principally consisting of pine and cedar. The surrounding country brought with them the scope of vision and interesting and romantic scenes. The lofty tableland in front, with diversified surfaces of granite rock and vegetable earth, affording a scantily nourishment for herbage and foothold for dwarfous cedars and pines, spread far and away to a snow-clad mountain of the north, while rearward at its base lay a broad valley through which passes the Oregon Trail, shut in upon two sides by rugged hills, and farther on the rise the snowy sides of the Laramie chain with their cloud-capped summits. To the left, peak towering above peak in gradual succession, point to the ridge dividing the waters of the Atlantic and the Pacific, and to the right, the lessening eminences, valleys, and plateau guide the eye to where the boundless prairie reveals its wild beauty and owns itself the realm of eternal solitude. Wow. Fording the river. I think I got one in here for the Oregon Trail. There we go. Oregon Trail, people. There you go. I'll load it up and head down the Oregon Trail. Oh, yeah. Okay, how magnificent must be the scene when a spring arrays in the surrounding landscape in her own loveliness and bedecks the wilderness with gratuity and venture. Bearing again to the left, we continued our course by a winding buffalo path, which soon brought us to a broad valley bordering upon the Platte. Riding on, we soon came to a large sandy creek, and observing several bulls in the vicinity, we accepted the advantage offered by a small grove of cottonwoods and willows with clear spring, and struck camp. During the day, oddly, as old Franco-Canadian who accompanied us afforded me considerable amusement. There they are, striking camp. Observing that he had carried his gun uncharged for several days, past of circumstances so singular in this country led me to inquire the cause. The old fellow, with the most laughable sang-froid, answered as follows: "Me carry foos load. No, monsieur. Good, no good. Carry foos load. Sure, them primus. Sanctress must better come out. Me dangerous. Me live long and Monterey's. Oh, no, remarked you, duo, three, great many year. Sacrum de bear. Yea, you call him an American? Grizzly bear, I suppose you mean, said I. Ay, monsieur. Much gracias, monsieur. She grizzly bear. Me, born American, que no ramagus, grizzly bear. Enforcer sagdam, grizzly bear. Him come out and they kill me, da prez. Well, continued I, what has that to do with carrying your gun unloaded? Aye, pardon, monsieur. Me tell you un bon American. Me recta sen dem bear. Vesh you call him, monsieur. Oh, grizzly bear. Sang them grizzly bear. Me see him one day, and la prince big run of villain. Shoot him, foos. Make him much blood. No kill him. Second the bear, grizzly bear. Him jump for me. He say, the bear, bar, dar, bonder. Me no stay there. Me been fast run. Me abandon the fruits. Me climb and the pine tree. Second the bear, you would call him? You grizzly bear. Degrubs monsieur, me par bon American. Tell un natural, me see dem bear him come to tree, no climb him. He too look him all around den. There them grizzly bear, den grizzly bear. Did see who's lie. Pick him up. Got him foos. Shoot them bear. Grizzly bear did. Take him. Aim me. Snap him foos. 3 time. Oh, Mandur. Mandur. Suppose he fusen been loaded. Then been him shoot me. Him kill me dead. Second the bear, them grizzly bear wood. Grass monsieur, push him second of the busy bear, kill him me. And now monsieur kill him me dead. So I resume. Your reason for not carrying your gun loaded is you are fearful that the bear might chance to get hold of it and shoot you. Zendes, monsieur, in the vrete. No carry gun loaded, sure as premier. Sir, them bear get hold of him and he shoot. Towards night, 2 of our party, who had gone to pursue a buffalo, returned laden with meat, which, though poor, was far preferable to the lichened venison we had furl upon the last 24 hours. The male buffalo at this season of the year is generally fatter than the female, unless it's been one of those few barren cows that sometimes are found in large bands, but neither is worth boasting of. After our long fasting and indifferent fare for 6 entire days, it is not marvelous that we improved, but quicken zest the present opportunity of feasting. Unless you carry a gun and there's a bear, huh? It's really hard to pronounce those words. I don't even know how he wrote them down, but he must speak French. I guess if you're French, you would know all about it. And then you could be looking at the bear in the face as he may shoot you with your own gun. The following day, 2 parties started for quest of game, one of which killed 3 bulls at as many shots within half an hour after leaving camp. The other party also killed 2, but in securing one of them, they met with an exciting adventure. Both animals were extended upon the ground, and one entirely at the other apparently dead. The hunters, having butchered one of them, proceeded to the other and were in the act of raising him to the right position for the commencing of the operation. The old fellow, not relentlessly, like familiarity from new acquaintances, sprang to his feet and made a plunge at the frightened hunters, who only escaped the fatal charge by one of those admirable feats of quick dodging so often in requisition among mountaineers. The bull, passing between them, fell head foremost against the ground, 2 or 3 feet beyond the spot they had occupied scarcely a second previous. Then, rising with glaring eyes and distended nostrils and mouth foaming with blood and rage, he pursued one of them in hot chase for a distance of several hundred yards. So close was the bull in a few leaps that with a sweep of his horns, he gored the hunter's back, tearing away his pantaloons and coat, and prostrating him upon all fours at the edge of a deep ravine, down which he tumbled. The enraged beast followed, but the force of the unbroken headway landed him with a tremendous shock against the opposite bank, far beyond the hunter. Improving the advantage thus gained, the latter escaped through the windings of the ravine and ascended the bank without a breach of his pursuer. Having procured his rifle after 9 more shots, had riddled the lights of the bull's carcass, the business of butchering was again commenced and terminated without further mishap. Off to shooting buffalo again. There's your buffalo. Our stay at camp was prolonged for 3 or 4 days. The geological character of the vicinity corresponds very much with the previously remarked, and to describe it in full would seem too much like repetition. I have perhaps said sufficient to give the reader a concrete idea of the prominent characteristics of these parts, and hence, for the sake of brevity, shall hereafter forbear further notes upon this subject, unless some uniform change of striking particularly should call for a passing of observation. Prior to resuming our journey, a disagreement occurred between us relative to the proposed route. Some were desirous of proceeding southward to the plains of Laramie, hence bearing eastward to Laramie River, following its valley to Fort Platte. Others was anxious to continue up the Platte to Sweetwater, or further, and from hence proceed to circumstances in inclination might suggest. This difference finally resulted in the division of our party, 4 in favor of the western and 3 in favor of the southern route, myself being included with the former. Wow. Well, now what are they going to do? What shall they do? Equipmentage, the following day, we mounted our horses and were underway. With the exception of myself, the preceding party consisted of did I miss something there? They were divided. Selecting 2 pack mules for the conveyance of provisions and the differences finally resulted in the division of our party, 4 favored in the western, 4 being the former. Selecting 2 pack mules for the conveyance of provisions and encamping equipmentages, the day following, we mounted our horses and were underway. With the exception of myself, the present party consisted of old and experienced mountaineers, we well acquainted with the country and the nature of Indians, though in regard to the latter, little danger was apprehended at this season of the year, as the Sioux had not yet left their winter quarters, and they rarely traversed the vicinity of the Sweetwater before the middle of May. Other tribes we might look upon as friendly. We therefore anticipated a safe and pleasant excursion. During the day, our course led over a rough, undoubted prairie, bounded on the right mostly by the river and on the left by the mountains. In the heads of the valley and the ravines, I noticed numerous withered stalks of the breadroot, indicating its great abundance and also an increased quality of amethys. At night, we encamped at the forks of a small stream called Labonts Creek. Near the confluence of its waters with the Platte are the remains of a log cabin occupied by a trading party several years since. The creek is tolerably well timbered, and the valley throughout which it winds its way affords many beautiful bottoms of rich soil. The rock in this vicinity disclosed a precarious character, especially the sandstone. Among the usual fruit-bearing shrubs and bushes, I here noticed the serviceberry. This kind of fruit is very abundant in the mountain parts of Oregon, where it attains a size but little inferior to common plums and is highly esteemed for its superior flavor. Leaving the Labonts Creek, we traveled by easy stages for 3 successive days and struck camp at the mouth of Deer Creek. Our course led over several beautiful streams, most of them well timbered with cottonwood and box elder, occasionally skirted by rich bottoms. Previous to reaching this point, we followed along the Platte Valley for a distance of some 20 or 30 miles, which presented several fine bottoms of richly sandy soil upon either bank, together with numerous groves of cottonwood. The face of the country is generally succession of ridges and hollows intersected by ravines and small streams of water. At Deer Creek, and for some distance before reaching it, the mountain chain to our left approaches within 4 or 5 miles of the river, rising abruptly to a height of from 8 to 1,500 feet from frowning brows and pine-clad summits. Deer Creek is one of the largest affluents of the Platte from the south between Sweetwater and Laramie. At this place, it is about 80 yards broad with a smooth and transparent current that sweeps over a bed of rock and gravel. Its banks are well timbered with large cottonwoods and present rich bottoms of alluvial soil, very luxuriant in grasses. Even this early in the season, the fresh grass of the vicinity affords tempestuous nourishment for our animals, and wishing to favor them as much as possible, we have concluded to remain a short time. During the succeeding interval, we were variously occupied in hunting, root digging, and moccasin making. The latter is a business in which every mountaineer is nearly necessarily proficient, and rarely will be venture upon a long journey without the appearance of his profession. The process of shoemaking with him is reduced to its most simple form. He merely takes 2 pieces of buffalo or any other suitable skin, each being a little longer and wider than his foot, particularly towards the heel. These he folds separately and lays them together parallel with the turned edges, then rounding and trimming the sides to render them foot shaped, and with an awl and his sinew of buffalo or other animal, or small strips of thin deer skin, wang, he sews these vamps from end to end. Then, after cutting a tongue-like appendage in the upper side midway up the heel to the toe, and stitching together the posterior parts, his task is done. That's interesting. They were all set to make stuff. Having obtained a quality of sap from the grove of box elders near camp, we found a sweet and pleasant liquid, and not inferior to that of the maple. Sugar might be manufactured from it with little trouble. Interesting. Let's see what these guys would be looking like. Mountain men. Yeah, see, they got moccasins on. Homemade moccasins. Or maybe they're shoes. I don't know, one or the other. Do they wear shoes or do they wear moccasins? Good question. Can't see no shoes on those guys, can you? Maybe it's this guy. The look of a mountain man. Having obtained a quantity of sap, from the box elders. Okay, we're getting that. The leaves of this tree are as well as general appearance of its wood, greatly assimilated those of maple, and independent of the bushy tops and studded with wind growth, it would be hard to tell the difference at first glance. Let's see, where are we? We're I'll finish this page up. Game was plenty on every side, both buffalo, deer, and elk, with some few bear. The second day of our arrival, one of the latter, attracted by a scent of a fresh buffalo meat, ventured within the gunshot of camp. Instantly, the balls of our 4 rifles were buried in its carcass. Aroused by its feeling statue, he rushed towards us at top of his speed, when our horses, frightened at the strange appearance, broke snorting away over a neighboring hill, and with ourselves took the trees as fast as possible. In the midst of this general consideration, a pistol ball fired by one of our party buried itself in the brains of our troublesome visitor and laid him prostrate. He was one of those common species of the mountains called the red bear, and must have weighed 400 or 500 pounds. The fat upon his back was full 3 inches thick. His skin, when stretched, would have compared in size to that of a buffalo, and the claws of his feet were full 3 inches long. At this season of the year, when these animals first leave their dens, they are much the fattest. A singular circumstance, if we remember the fact that they remain in hold up for entire winter without eating. After butchering the greasy victim and bringing our erratic horses back to camp, we regaled ourselves with an ample feast of bear's liver, heart, and kidneys, basted with fat, a dish that epics might well convent. Then filling a large camp kettle with portions of the fleece and ribs, we allowed it to boil till the next morning, and thus prepared another delicious entertainment, such as rarely met with in any country other than his. Bear meat is to be tender and good, should it be boiled at least 10 hours. This is probably the most preferable mode of cooking it, though a roast of this article is far from bad. There are 4 cereal varieties of bear found in the Rocky Mountains. I'll finish this up. And countries adjacent: the grizzly bear, the black bear, and the red bear, and the white. The white bear. Of these, the grizzly bear stands preemptant of ferocity and strength. He will almost invariably flee at the sight and scent of a man, and seldom attacks anyone unless wounded. When shot, he generally runs at full speed towards the sound, and woe to the unfortunate hunter who then comes in his way unless fully prepared for a deadly encounter. This animal reigns prince of the mountains, and every other beast within his wide realm acknowledges his supremacy. Wolves and panthers dare not approach him or disturb him aught savoring of his ownership. Even the carcasses of his prey covered with the earth and rocks, his cautious instinct teaches him to heap upon it for preserving. In unmolested, though, hundreds of wolves and panthers might be starving around. Buffalo dread his presence far more than the dangerous approach of the hunter, and will sooner bring into relinquish their swiftest powers of flight on such occasions. With great difficulty, a horse can be pursued to go within any near distance of one of them, even when led, and then he will quail and tremble in every joint from extreme terror. In short, the grizzly bear stalks forth at pleasure in his majesty and strength, lord of the wild solitudes in which he dwells, and none dare oppose him. Some writers assert that bears will not prey upon dead carcasses. This is contrary to the fact. I have often known them to take possession of the carcass of animals, even when they nearly protrude and remain until they were devoured. They frequently kill buffalo, horses, and cattle to gratify their taste for animal food, and in such cases always drag their prey in some convenient spot and perform the task of brutal burial by heaping upon it piles of rock or earth to a depth of several feet for protection against the ferocity of other beasts of prey. It is not uncommon even that they drag the entire carcass of a full-grown bull a distance of several hundred yards by the horns for this purpose. So great their strength and so acute their strategy. So don't mess with a bear, especially the grizzly bear. And we're going to quit right there and leave off because we're up at chapter 14. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming tonight. This was a real good one. Really interesting. Bear hunting. Now they split their party in half. 4 went one way, 4 went the other. He's going west. West, young man, west. So there you go. So that's where we are right now. And he's learning how to hunt bear, learning all about the bear. I hope they talk about the white bear. I never heard of white bear. So there's a grizzly bear, there's a black bear, there's a red bear, and a white bear. Okay, well, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and come back next time so we can find some more great adventures. Okay, and with that, go out and have your own adventure. It's